everyone, Anna here with the Coding Guild. Today we are going to look at two different ways to tab your ICD-10 PCS depending on your coding style, with some recommendations and best practices. There are two ways to code from ICD-10 PCS, and it is up to your preference really. One method is to start in the index and find the table you need from here. The other is to bypass the index and immediately go to the table necessary and build the code from there. The PCS guidelines allow for this. It is not mandatory to go to the index first. Depending on which method you prefer, you will need a little bit of a different tabbing on the side, but there will be several tabs that are the same on the top. So let's start with the differences first. If you prefer coding from the index, then the first thing you want to do is to add letters for the alphabet all the way down to W. That's the last tab I have, because when I reference W, notice that all the other last letters of the alphabet are here, X, Y, and Z. So there is really no need to put an additional tab on the side and take up additional space. Don't forget that tabbing is about quick reference. For as long as I know and remember where X, Y, and Z are, I am good with only one tab and can use the free space for something else. Alright, so after we looked up our table from the index, we know where to go, but how are you going to find it? For that, I recommend you put tiny little tabs on the side. For the medical and surgical section, you can see I have the first two characters, 000204006 and so on. These are all handmade tabs, and if you read AAPC's frequently asked questions, they say they allow handmade tabs for as long as it is clear that the tab is referencing something, it's a shortcut and doesn't provide additional information. So these should be fine. I know a lot of people are afraid that handmade tabs will be removed. They shouldn't be. AAPC allows for it, it's on the website. Okay, so back to the medical and surgical. We have every other table, because if we know where 00 and 02 are, we also know where 01 is. It will be in between. And even if we don't make it there immediately, although we did at this time, we can also quickly just reference the necessary table using the colors or whatever. We can get to the vicinity of the code easily. It's also a good idea, if you can fit it in on the side or on top, to add additional tabs for the index, such as resection, excision, or any other root operation that you feel you are using a lot. Now, what if you don't code from the index, but you prefer going to the tables immediately? In that case, you have no use for the letters, right? You are not using the index every time. We will have to have all the medical and surgical section first characters. So in this case, I added every single one of them because I don't have to take up space for the letters. I'm going from 00 to 0Y. Every single one of the medical and surgical sections are tabbed, and I can immediately reference the table I need. But how do I know which table I need to go to? For that, I have another tab up here. This one says BOSI. It stands for Body System. This is where I open up to find this list in the book telling me about all the body systems, 0 central nervous, 1 peripheral nervous, and so on. And this is how I know where to go. So for example, if I have to code a dilation of the left fallopian tube, I come here to the body systems, I find the female reproductive system, I see that it will be U. Go to my side tabs, find 0U, and turn to that section to find the dilation table, and can code much quicker than from the index. Sometimes, of course, it's not so easy to decide which root operation I should be coding for, and for that there is a separate tab on the top. I am using Optum books, and different publications will have different appendices, but what I am going to show you is usually in every single book, maybe in different order or different places, but you shouldn't have a problem tabbing the same categories and help as I did. So for the root operations, I have this very important tab called Roots. And this is my quick reference to review the definitions of root operations and find what I am looking for. What other tabs do we have up here? There is one for the guidelines. This is unmarked because everything else is marked, so again, logically I know that this only unmarked one will lead me to the guidelines. I also have tabs for the additional sections. The medical and surgical is already on the side, but I have one for the obstetrics, the measurement and monitoring, administration, placement, imaging, new technology, and I have one that I just call other. Let's see what other is. Other is for those sections that come after the medical surgical and don't take up more than about 5 pages. So again, I felt that adding just one tab will provide me with quick enough reference so that I can find these smaller sections. There is really no need to litter the top of my book with more tabs for these ones. The extracorporeal or systemic assistance and performance, extracorporeal or systemic therapies, osteopathic, other procedures, and chiropractic. See, I could easily flip through all these 5 pages. There was really no need for additional tabbing and making it busier than it needs to be. Now let's have a look at the appendices. I tabbed 4 of them. Of course, you might want to tab more depending on what you are using, that value code. The first one is for the roots, but before that, we have Appendix A for the approaches. If you are new to PCS coding or you just feel you would like a little bit of reassurance, then definitely put a tab here for you. Then Appendix B was the root operation definitions. I have that one. Then a very useful one, comparison of medical and surgical root operations. I am not sure you have time for this one during the exam, but while you are studying, it might be a good idea to put a tab here because it can help you learn the PCS root operations and can help you narrow down which operation you need. There is also a video up about that one. It will be in the corner and the description below. If you are not familiar with the easy 3-step method of finding your PCS operation, then please check that out. My next tab is at the body part key to help me decide how PCS will define any given body part, which character I should be using. It's very easy to make a mistake on body part characters, so please make sure that you are familiar with this appendix and that you put a tab here for easy reference. Then the body part definitions. This is the inverse of the body part key. It's the same information, but they swap the columns. Appendix F, device classification, to help me decide whether I have a device during the procedure or I don't. And Optum is actually expanding on this one because they have a total of 3 appendices regarding devices, and I have one tab for all the 3 as they follow each other. So we have the device classification, the device key and aggregation table, and then finally the device definitions. The substance key and substance definitions, I don't have a separate tab for that because I don't use it very often. Of course, if you feel like it, you can add one. The character definitions to help you find what you need to be coding for in other than medical and surgical sections. It breaks it down for you what the different categories stand for within one big section. Again, I am mainly coding medical and surgical, so this is not something I tab. The hospital-acquired conditions, Appendix K. The hospital-acquired conditions also show up in your ICD-10 CM book. Expect questions on the CIC or CCS exams, something like which category a hospital-acquired condition belongs to or how many categories there are. Would this procedure put the condition on the hack list and so on. Just know about the appendix that it's here. I am not sure it merits its own tab. Also, if you are not familiar with hospital-acquired conditions, find the link in the description below and in the corner for more background information and what they are. The next tab is for the combination tables. AAPC calls these coding clusters or something like that. These are the procedures that will have to be coded together in order for the case to be grouped into a higher paying or a different DRG. You know you have to come here and look at this combination table when you see something like a plus sign in your PCS coding table. Of course, this is Optum. AAPC might use different iconography, or if you are using somebody else's book, this will be called a combination member or code cluster member or something like that. Look at the bottom of the page. So if you see this next to any of the codes in your book, please go to the procedure combination tables quickly using your tab and find the other procedure necessary to be coded. Some best practices and recommendations. If you run out of space in your book and you feel you cannot put more tabs on the side or anywhere else, then don't do it. What you can do is to use paper clips to mark up wherever you want to go. I am mainly using that method on my CPT, or did so last year when I took an exam and I wanted quick reference. You see those paper clips down there? These ones lead to my notes. This is how I know where my notes are. I am not littering the side or the top of the book. I am just going there using paper clips. Another advice is to not overwhelm your book. It really is about your reference and being able to quickly go from one place to another. There is no need to create a full inventory of what is found in the book. That's not the goal. Just make sure that you can quickly turn to the codes, index entries, appendices, and whatever else you need. And that concludes our ICD-10 PCS tabbing review. As you can tell, a lot of it is really up to personal preference. I would say give a go to both methods and figure out which one is best for you. Maybe you find a way to combine the two without getting overwhelmed by it. If you store your books on their spine upright, then you also have the luxury of adding additional tabs on the bottom and can do both methods at the same time without problems. That's all we had for today. I hope it was helpful. Please don't forget to visit our website for free coding quizzes and more coding help. Thank you for being here with me today. I will see you soon in our next video.